all you beautiful people out in the Lake Placid Bumblebee Tuna Fantasy Football League. I know you've been wondering, where's Captain Insano?
Yeah, literally no one's been asking where you've been, Captain Insano. No one.
And I just... What? Of course they've been wondering where I've been. I am the epitome of entertainment. Look at my physique. Look at me. I have the best analysis over anybody, especially Tuna does, even though we kind of have an alliance with them now.
I'm just being honest. I mean, your show's great. Everybody loves it, but nobody's been asking.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm back for another week of recaps and predictions. Although we've not been every single week, we feel that this is best, as to not oversaturate Captain Insano on the league. Welcome back to Captain Insano's weekly recap / prediction / show thing. Pass interference, you've seen my show before. Today we're going to start out right out of the gate. Week 5 is wrapped up, and it's been a tight battle at the top for all the best teams. There are only 2 unbeatens left in Nathan and Jonathan. Wow, what a really good league. Now, Aaron did get his first win over Dwayne. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Dwayne, you have shamed everyone. That somebody that's tanking would beat your team. Not only beat your team, but spank your team. You must feel like such a fool. Dwayne, the only thing I can tell you is you bounce back. Maybe not to the top, but you bounce back from losing to one of the worst teams in the league. I promise you. That is your encouragement. Take it and run. Run, child. Now we must address the other 0-5 team, and that's Reid. His team is very unlucky. As one of the best drafts in the entire league around draft season, I'm surprised that he's struggling so badly. He must just be a terrible coach. The modern-day Jeff Fisher. Just keep going, Reid. You're really trying, and that's commendable. At least you're not tanking. One of the highest scoring games this week was PC versus Richard, with a score of 164 to 158. PC's team came out of the gate hot, putting up 37 points with Devontae Adams, 28 with Jamar Chase, and Madison with 26 points. Good gracious. But Richard looked like it was almost over until Mark Andrews scored 41 points, putting him close. Unfortunately, not close enough. Richard, you can do this, all right? Your team, you're 1-4, but you have still won a game, and you still have things to play for. Keep your chin up, kiddo. PC, you just completed a wonderful trade that benefits you greatly. Good for you. I hope you don't beat me, and if you do, you're a doo-doo head. John Mack, did you even try this week? 94 points? 157 for my team. You just laid over and died. Well, thanks for doing it when I played you. I actually should be thanking you. I'll send you a card in the mail, old chum. The battle for the middle of the pack. Donald versus Josh. Josh gets the win this week, 137 to 123. I'm really impressed with Josh's team this week. Justin Herbert with 50 points. Tom Brady had 48. Didn't think anybody was going to beat that one, but Herbert did. Wow. Then his running backs, as usual, sucked. But so did Donald's. 5 points and 7 points. Ew! That's disgusting. Find a running game, you two. Jonathan's team, 5-0, just like my team. Beating Daryl, 152 to 139. Daryl, once again, his team just continues to defy the odds. Is it time to say that Daryl has a good team? He's 2-3, so his record doesn't show it, but Daryl's team is much better than what we once thought. Kudos to you, Daryl. Oh, that hurt to say. Bruce, I gotta give you a shout out. As my #1 fan, Captain Insano appreciates good people who are supportive and are not mean or jerks, like most of the world is right now. Can't we be honest? You defeated Reid. You are 3-2 and he is 0-5. Poor Reid. But good for you. Your team continues to do well on the backs of the Kansas City Chiefs. Good job. Dwayne, one of the keys for your loss was that you played Deebo Samuel, who'd been doing awesome over Cortland Sutton. Had you played Cortland Sutton, you would have beat Aaron and not had your second loss of the season. Sorry, forgot you lost to me too. Aaron, even though your team is just raking in the draft picks and all the keepers, your team has done well. Continue it on. Don't tank. The stinker of the week this week is John Mack, which I'm really thankful for because my team couldn't have done so well if he hadn't stunk it up. Thanks for being the stinker of the week, John Mack. This week, doing our predictions, we have a very special guest. Our very own 0-5 coach, Reid there from Tuna Buzz. Reid, take it away.
Tuna Vites, what is up? So, today is going to be a little different. So this week, Richard is off, and we're not doing the normal show because, well, Richard pretty much runs it. And so, yeah, I mean, he's the master at that. And I'm not very good with all the tech stuff, so I just kind of show up. And, yeah, so here we are. So I'm doing a little segment. I'm actually a guest on Captain Insano's, whatever you call it. So I'm doing my recorded reaction to last week and sort of some, I guess, official Tuna Buzz insight. Okay, so last week, where do we start? Well, we could start with the worst team in the league, but I think we need to cut that guy some slack. Just some tough times right now. So I think let's not beat a dead horse. It is what it is. So, but we'll go there. For Bruce, I got to say, Dawson Knox, what a revelation that's been. And that's huge for him because, tight end has been a weakness of his. And we know what happens when you don't have a tight end. It really is hard when you're going against, certain teams every week to not have that production. So, great game for him. Myles Gaskin, oh man, talk about, against the Bucs defense, he was awesome. And Bruce is now in first place in his division. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about that bad team that he beat because we're rolling on here. And yeah, 0-5. But anyways, yeah, Bruce, great win. And that was great. And, to get Nathan, he's just rolling along. Okay, his team 5-0, and really there's no weakness in his team. He has no weaknesses, and so barring injury, he has positioned himself very, very well. And John Mack really just had a bad week, and so he's got to kind of pick it back up now because Jonathan took care of business against Daryl. Jonathan and Nathan really are rolling along here at 5-0 and in command of their divisions. And, Daryl, man, kudos to you because you pushed Jonathan and you're a different team this year. And I think people have been sleeping. And listen, I'll admit it, okay? I've been sleeping on you, but your team, that was close. At one point you were going to win until all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson did Lamar Jackson things and went nuclear. And then that kind of dashed your hopes of beating Jonathan. But, again, good for Jonathan. Cordero Patterson, gosh, his team, he's got lots of running backs / receiver with Cordero Patterson. So he's looking really great now. 5-0 in that division. Going to Donald and Josh. Josh, man, got to give you credit. 2 wins in a row. And Donald, set your lineup, okay? You probably would have won if you would have put it, taken out Julio Jones and Kittle. So that one's definitely on you. But Josh, hey, I got to give you credit, okay? You scored more points than I did, and you have no running backs, and yet you're putting together a good run here. Let's see what happens next week. And then we go to Richard and PC. And I got to say, this was pretty much looking like a PC was going to just destroy Richard. He had that huge lead, and then Mark Andrews had a tight end game for the ages, okay? Those kind of games do not happen often. We don't see that often. Even from Kelsey, as great as he is, I mean, that's kind of the standard of Waller. I mean, that was incredible. And, talking about the Monday night game, it did not swing. A lot of games because of, Hollywood Brown, Lamar Jackson, Andrews. I mean, that for a lot of people, a lot of leagues probably swung a lot of games like just crazy with what happened in that game and all the points and everything they put up. In our league, it wasn't enough for Richard. Almost. I mean, he almost came back. That was just crazy. Nathan, he ended up having a great week with Hollywood Brown. And ultimately with Lamar Jackson's 49-point game, I ended up going from a really bad week to just, losing by 10, which just further, put salt in the wound of my season. But again, we're not talking about that. So, good win for PC. We'll talk about his trade here in just a minute here. But, look, it's like 1 week he's on fire, and the next week he's kind of had a rough week. So that's kind of how his team's been. But he's right there with Bruce. Him and Bruce really are the ones compete for that division. And so, when you look, we're starting to see things take shape and kind of who the contenders are, who are the teams that are maybe playing better than they should. They might need to make a move trade-wise. And then there are teams that, maybe better luck next year. I know better than anybody. But we go on to the next game. Aaron, we're tanking for next year. I'm not hating on you, Aaron. I get it. I did it last year. You're trading for next year. I get it. You're out. Okay. Well, he beats Dwayne. Oh, Dwayne. Yes. You'd lose to Aaron, who right now, as I'm looking at it, says turds. And Aaron, your name is so long. It's honestly, I kind of hurts just to read your whole name. But what can I say? Aaron finally got on the win column after he made that trade with Nathan and Robert Woods went off. And Dwayne, you still got a good team, but definitely need to pick it back up, this week. And there was a lot of high scores for the season. And this week, it was a pretty high scoring week. In fact, John Mack was the only one who got under 100 points. But everybody else was 120 plus. And so, from last week was not as good of a scoring week. This week was a great scoring week. There was a lot of crazy high scoring games. And so going on to free agent bidding, what do I think about the free agent bidding? That was kind of crazy too with free agent bidding. Just a lot of bids, a lot of guys. We're just now getting, this is the first week of bye weeks. So it's interesting to see how much people are going to spend because now it's not going to get any better. We go into further bye weeks. The injuries keep piling up. It's going to be pretty slim pickings for a lot of weeks for teams. So we're starting to see, the high bidding. Richard, he decided just to spend it all. And, man, Richard, if there's a guy you want, you go for it. So I hope Devontae Booker, makes your team. And I'm guessing because you spent that much, he's probably going to always stay on your team. But, hey, that's there you go. So you need another running back, get another running back. Bruce, that made sense. Getting Kansas City Chiefs, getting Darrell Williams. He needed to because of CEH going on IR. And so that was some competitive bidding there. Jonathan made an interesting move. I'll make note. He's got 3 tight ends now. He spent $16 on Hunter Henry. Clearly a strategy going on there. Tight end is brutal. It is rough. I know very well because I probably have the worst situation, I think now. Probably the worst situation tight end wise. That's just, it's brutal. When you don't have a tight end, it's hard, and there's not really many that are going to give you many points. So clearly a strategy for Jonathan. Get Hunter Henry, add him to this mix of tight ends. Who knows what he's going to do with that? Maybe he's trying to trade. I don't know. But there he goes. He got him. There was a lot of people that wanted Hunter Henry's services. It's only going to get, again, worse with all the bye weeks. But nonetheless, with all that happening, okay, I almost missed it because I don't know, Aaron, I guess, was up at 1:15 a.m. in the morning. That's what it said on my email. But PC and Aaron, they made a trade, a monster trade, and Aaron is continuing his work to next year. And so my thoughts on that trade are I think it's a win-win for both teams. I was a little surprised that PC traded Jamar Chase, only because he's obviously been awesome. I mean, they're starting to talk about him and Randy Moss rookie season kind of stuff as far as touchdowns and everything. But he's been really good with Devontae Adams. So I was a little surprised. I mean, he's got James Robinson, he's got the Dalvin Cook, Madison kind of thing. But of course, Aaron Jones, we know, is the kind of player that can just put up monster games as well. So now he's stacking Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. And he still gets Robert Woods, who is, like I said, a quality receiver. And he's not Jamar Chase, but he's Robert Woods. So for PC, that's kind of a big move because then Aaron got the draft picks and Jamar Chase. So Aaron now has 3 first-round picks next year, Tuna Bites. 3 first-round picks. Just let that sink in. So, Aaron, I got to say this. Next year, when you got all those draft picks and you're just drafting, you better make sure you get some things right. I mean, nobody hits on every player. You have misses. But you better make sure that you hit it and nail it because you had 2 first-round picks this year and 2 second-round picks this year, and it didn't work out. So hopefully now you're going to be well set for next year. Interesting that we've had 2 monster trades and we haven't got to week 6 yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams are still going to make a move. In other words, with the draft picks for Nathan and PC, they've kind of made their moves. I don't anticipate they're going to make any more trades this year that involve draft picks. I mean, it just at this point, they don't have as much to offer unless they just go full Jonathan and just say, here's my first 5-round picks and there you go. But I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see what other teams, come into play for trading, whether that's just players or draft picks. But then there's going to be some teams that are going to be kind of out of it and have to make a decision. So it's been fun, though. It's been fun to see the trades on the trading front. Being at 0-5, Aaron's already, he's got to win. So, I'm technically the worst team in the league at 0-5, the only team who hasn't got to win. So I could be that team that could be selling, but I'm remaining patient right now. So I'm not in full Aaron mode. There's still plenty of weeks to trade. So we'll see what happens. But there are other teams. Richard's 1-4. Maybe he's going to make a move for the future if he doesn't feel like, he can drastically turn it around. But pretty much you're kind of looking at your playoff field right now. You're looking at PC. You're looking at Bruce, Jonathan, Nathan, Dwayne. I still think John Mack, he's 2-3. So I think is he 2-3. So John Mack, he's still got a good roster. He's had some injuries, but he's still got time to make a run. And who knows? There's some other teams. It's still early enough. I think teams can make a run. Fantasy football, things change so fast. So again, with the trading, it's going to be fun and interesting because we've had such big trades early. I know there's other people out there that are going to want to make trades. And, I think the key is, when you're shooting your shot this early with the trades and you're going all in with draft picks, you hope you don't have injuries because, if you're a contending team and you need to make another trade, sometimes you can make a trade too early or sometimes you can make it too late. And that's always a decision every manager's got to make. Is when they're going to make those big trades like that. Some are small, but we haven't really seen small trades. It's all been big trades. So we'll see how that's going forward. All right. Well, Nathan told me to keep this short. And, sorry, Nathan. I don't know how long your show was going to be. I don't even know what Captain Insano, I don't know how I feel about being part of a show. Who knows how he's going to frame me in this. But let's go to this next week. Let's go to the matchups for Week 6, and I'm going to go look at that. There we go. So why don't we just start with one of the absolute positively uninspiring worst matchups of the week, me and Aaron. So Aaron, because he's trading and what he's doing is he I guess is trying to give me my first win. I know Aaron's competing. He's not giving up. He's doing, he's being smart about it, but by way of trading for next year, he kind of is giving way. Although my team has found a way to lose every single week in some new and fantastic fashion, so nothing surprises me anymore. So, it would be kind of funny. Not for my part, but it would be funny for Aaron if he beat me this week and, further didn't get his number 1 pick, whatever draft status. That would be pretty funny. Again, not on my end. That would just be more, pain. But anyways, there's that matchup. I'm obviously not going to pick on my game. I don't think it really matters. I'm actually kind of glad that we're not doing Tuna Buzz with Richard because Richard's picked me every single week, and every single week I've lost. So he's kind of been my curse. So I'm kind of glad he's not picking that. But again, that should be a game that probably nobody cares about except for me and Aaron. So we shall see what will happen. John Mack and Dwayne. An interesting game. Dwayne coming off a tough loss against a bad football team. And, John Mack, he's got some injuries. I'm looking at his team. It's kind of hurting right now. Some injuries, COVID players, showing that Dwayne is going to win this week. But it's close. It's very, very, it's probably the closest game we've got of the week. Man, how do you pick this game? I probably got to go Dwayne here. I feel like Dwayne's probably going to get the win. Although as I'm looking at it, John Mack's got some tough matchups, or some injuries, I should say. But this is probably going to be one of the closest game we've got this week. But I think I'm going to stick with Dwayne. I think he's going to rebound this week. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'm going with Dwayne there. Jonathan and Josh. Hey, Josh, you've gotten 2 wins in a row. Can he pull off the upset? Do I think Jonathan's going to lose at some point? Yes, I do think Jonathan's going to lose. I don't think he's going to go undefeated like his dad. But I don't think it's going to be this week. I think he's going to be able to win. His team is doing great. We'll see if McCaffrey can come back. That'll be a key factor. The other thing I'm looking out for this game for Jonathan is DK Metcalf. And, with Geno Smith now, the quarterback, it'll be interesting to see for Lockett and DK Metcalf's value, how well he'll do. He'll probably still be good. Obviously, they don't have the deep ball without Russell Wilson as much. But we'll see how that affects Jonathan's team. Doesn't seem to really, he's got enough guys circling, especially running backs. Doesn't seem to affect him. And, of course, Josh Allen's awesome. So I expect Jonathan to continue his winning ways. But Josh has surprised. So watch out for this game. Then we go to Bruce and Nathan. And this is probably the game of the week in my mind. So, Nathan is definitely a pretty big favorite over Bruce. Bruce has got, obviously, some injuries with Chris Carson and now CEH. So it's getting tough for Bruce. He's got, of course, Kansas City. We know that they can go off at any time. And the players he's got, Nathan's loaded. Interesting, though, Edmonds, he's a little banged up. So that'd be something to watch. But, Nathan has been he's been awesome for his team. Bruce, man, he's got, of course, Knox, and, he's got to get a defense in that's going to win. But so is this going to be the week that Nathan's first loss happens? Bruce, of course, when I pick Bruce, when I don't pick you, you win. But I'm going to have to go with Nathan. Nathan, I did pick you to win the championship, so I don't think this is the week that you have your first loss. Although Bruce, we know, is capable of with Mahomes and Hill. But Bruce has got some injuries, and your team is still, even with Kamara on bye week, I think your team's well on its way. So I'm going to pick Nathan on this week, and he's going to keep his winning ways. And then we go to PC and Daryl, who has surprised. Now, Daryl, I was trying to look at your team, but right now you have an illegal lineup. So it's kind of hard for me to project who's going to win. But I think fresh off the trade, I think PC is winning this week. And I think he's going to continue his momentum. And I think the trade's just going to breathe fresh, I'd say new life, but it's just going to further make his team better. So I'm picking PC this week. Daryl, usually when I pick against you, that's actually good for you because you surprised. But I'm going PC this week. Then we go to Richard and Donald. Now, this is interesting. Donald has, for all intents and purposes, he's been bad the last 2 weeks. Part of it's lineup decisions, and then part of it he's just kind of, I guess, maybe come back down to earth a little bit. He was hot when he started the first 3 weeks. Looking at this week, I don't know. Maybe Richard's going to get the win this week. I'm looking at Donald's team. Donald's, Kittle's hurt. I tend to like Richard this week over Donald. I don't know that Donald's going to get back on the winning ways. I tend to like, although Richard, starting Washington's defense against Kansas City, that's gutsy if that's what you're going to hold to. We'll see. Maybe it works out. I know Kansas City struggled a little bit, but it's still the Chiefs. So, but looking at Richard, Kadarius Toney, what a great pickup. If he plays, he's awesome. Andrews, we know what he can do, like this last week. So I like Richard. I like Richard to get back on the win column this week. And so that's what I got. Those are my quick picks. They weren't really quick, but I guess it was quick considering normally Tuna Buzz is a lot longer. So, anyways, next week, Tuna Bites, we're looking forward to getting back to the rest of the show. Going to follow up on some of our talks about changes in the league and follow up just from a conversation I had. I'm not going to do it in this video, but we'll do it next week. And so, hey, Tuna Bites, best of luck. And Captain Insano, thanks for letting me chime in this week on your, well, I don't know what we call it, your show, your shindig, your thing, I don't know, whatever you do, that your video, whatever. All right, Tuna Bites, see ya.
What time is it? Is he done talking yet? Ugh. Good Lord. Felt like all night. Thank you, Reid, for your riveting talk, analysis. A little bit longer than the short amount of time I asked you to do, but thank you nonetheless. We'll see you again in the future, maybe. I'll have to talk to my sponsors about your time. Well, that about wraps it up this week. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, here comes the dance montage. But this week, there's no dance montage. I've been trying to learn how to be more humble. And even though my team is amazing and is defeating everybody just by crushing their spirits and their entire football team organization, making them wonder why they even played this game, I've learned that it's better just not to say anything if you can't say something nice. So, to all my opponents who I've absolutely demolished, you're doing a good job. You're enough. Words of affirmation are important. And I'm 5-0.